Okay, we're ready.
But you're so hot that I melted. I fell right through the cracks. Now I'm trying to get back. Before the cool done run out, I'll be giving it my best. This and nothing's gonna stop me but divine intervention. I reckon it's again.
Pascal, we're good?
To win.
Okay.
Learn some, but I won't hesitate no more, no more. It cannot wait. I'm yours.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the global screening of the big debates at VegFest UK London 2015. We're very, very excited to be screening all over the world now, live. So, big greetings to all our pals, especially in Australia. Caroline Bailey, Jordan Wyatt in New Zealand, Roger Yates in Dublin, all the London Vegan Actions team, and of course Veggies in Nottingham. And all our global listeners, Barbara de Grand in Texas, we're loving it. I'm very, very honoured to be joined by my wonderful moderator today, Miss Karen Ridgers, the original Essex girl. And we know that none of our audience or debaters will dare step out of line with Karen in charge. So, am I right?
Yeah.
On that note, what we're going to do is invite our panels up one by one, so you can give them a big hand as they come. We're looking today at the debate is about Ricky Gervais and Beyonce. Are they taking the animal movement forwards or backwards? Are they confusing the movement or are they helping the movement? So I'll just get that correct. Are they helping it or are they confusing it? So, without further ado, just to explain that we'll have 6 minutes each from our speakers, uninterrupted please. Then there'll be a quick chance for some questions from the floor, which we're going to do totally at random. We'd ask you to be polite, of course, and quite succinct. And then we'll finish up with a 1 minute sum up from all our team, and then we'll have a quick show of hands. Just to say the debate is also on Facebook. So there is a Facebook page on our VegFest Facebook page that you can join in the debate. And again, I'd ask you to keep your comments respectful and give our moderator Wonder Pig an easy time. Thank you. Okay, so Karen, who's our first guest?
Let's have a look. Okay, please can we give a respectful welcome to our first guest? And what I want to say as well, and I'm going to say this next time, so sorry if I'm repeating myself if you're here for both of the debates, but respect is my biggest core value. That is why I'm vegan. I respect animals. I respect people, I respect the planet, I respect myself. That is one of the reasons that I am a vegan. And I want to see respect here. This is our space. My job is to look after you guys. We are in this together. We're going to invite some lovely people, some exciting people into our space. And we want to make sure we get the best out of them. So are we up for playing and playing fairly and respectfully? Does that sound good? We're vegans, we're fair, we're respectable. So my first guest that I'd like to introduce is Tobias Leonard,
Tobias,
founder and CEO of the Belgium non-profit organisation EVA, and also blogger on The Vegan Strategist.
Here you go, Tobias, you sit there.
Okay. Do your next one.
Okay, right. On the other side here, we have, reckoning that Ricky and Beyonce are definitely confusing the movement, the Grumpy Old Vegans. Big hand for the Grumpy Old Vegans, thanks. Grumpy Old Vegans are two independent people who are just very interested in animal rights and the whole concept of ending exploitation.
Okay, and next we'd like to have Dobrusa Gogloza, and I hope I've said that right, co-founder and coordinator of the Network for Eastern European Animal Rights.
Hey,
thank you. Please take a seat.
And our fourth and final contestant, debater, panelist today is very, very lovely Kate Fitzgibbon, who is currently doing many things, one of which she also moderates Professor Franciane's page. Kate Fitzgibbon, welcome.
Another chair.
That's no problem. That's fine.
Yeah, okay.
That's fine. Yeah, I'll hold that.
Right, we're all up for playing fairly and respectfully, guys. Who should we open it up to first? I think it's us guys that are in charge.
We've already agreed this.
Yeah?
Who did we agree? Remember, I think Tobias, you were going to speak first.
Sorry, guys. Decision's already been made, but we'll still play fairly. Tobias, can you speak into your microphone nice and clearly?
All right.
Ooh.
6 minutes.
6
folks.
minutes.
6 minutes. Off we go.
So my viewpoint would be that anybody who says that people like Ricky Gervais and Beyonce and maybe Ellen DeGeneres and other people are confusing the movement or confusing the people, I would say that these people are kind of confused about where our movement is at this point in time. We have a world where 60, 70 billion animals a year are eaten. And I think anybody who gives a message that goes in the direction of not doing that, of eating less of them, well, that's a good thing. That's a thing that will help us. This decrease in meat consumption is exactly what we need. And personally, I don't care if people would be a little bit confused about like what veganism might be, you know, because it's not the end of the road. If people all imitate Ellen and they all become dietary vegans, but they still wear leather shoes, I mean, we can still be out there, you know, telling them that leather shoes are not vegan. So I don't really see the problem. And I see a huge, huge benefit in these people. I mean, Ellen DeGeneres has like, I don't know, 4 million fans, and Ricky has like 11 million followers on Twitter or whatever. When was the last time you spread a vegan message to 11 million people, right? I don't know when that was. I think it is very strange to consider these people not to be part of us and to like alienate them for not spreading the message the way we want it to be spread. I think we have to applaud everything that they do. I think we, of course, can have doubts about some of the things that they say and do, and maybe it's not the way we would say and do it, but well, we're not up there, and they may have other concerns. Another point is that these people are people too. We seem to forget that celebrities are people too. We sometimes seem to hate celebrities. We think that everything goes where celebrities are concerned. And I think that if we encourage them, we are much more likely to get them on our side than if we criticize them all the time. I think these are people who are listening to all the criticism and all the encouragement that they get. I want to be on the side of the people that encourage them to make the right choices, not the people who criticize them for not saying the things we want to say. Okay, so in general, just summarizing, I think they're a very good thing. I think they're, in general, I think they have a huge, huge impact, and I think we should make use of them whatever way we can.
Thank you. Very well spoken. Is there anything you'd like to add to Tobias? Any final points? I can give you 30 seconds because you've come a long way.
No, I'll say something more later. That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for being so concise, and thank you for your respect, everybody, for not joining in when you shouldn't be. So that's very lovely. Okay.
Yep, off we go.
Would you like? Are you going? Yes.
Is it? Yeah, I think it's the Grumpies.
Yeah.
You're next,
Here we
isn't it?
have. Can we
The
have a round of
Grumpies will be
applause for the
next.
Grumpies, please?
Right, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Are celebrities such as Ricky Gervais and Beyonce helping or confusing the animal rights movement and veganism? To answer this question, we first need to understand what the term animal rights actually means. It's become conflated and confused over the years, but if it means anything at all, it must mean that sentient beings have the basic right not to be considered property, to be exploited and used as we see fit. Unless that basic right is observed, then all other rights are meaningless. If we agree that this right exists, we have no option but to be vegan. It's clearly nonsensical to claim support for animal rights while continuing to participate in their exploitation. On this basis, we contend that celebrities like Ricky Gervais and Beyonce confuse the non-vegan public about both veganism and animal rights.
These are the reasons. Number one, those celebrities who present as vegan often continue to use animals in some ways. We've heard of Ellen DeGeneres and her leather range of footwear, or Natalie Portman consuming eggs while she's pregnant. How can we convey to the public what veganism means while there's so much rampant confusion and misrepresentation? Number two, veganism is often portrayed as a mere diet and for weight loss reasons, for example with Kelly Osbourne and Bill Clinton. This serves to add to the sizeism that's endemic in the movement, implicitly shaming larger vegans. It also suggests deprivation. Do we really want to suggest that to people? Backsliding is common. We view diets as temporary fixes. And of course, journalists who tried Beyoncé's 22-day weight loss plan reported feeling hungry. Apparently the plan cost $609 to complete for 22 days. So the journalists expressed a sense of relief when they returned to what they considered normal eating. And this doesn't give an impression of what it's like to live as a vegan. Number three, vegans are misrepresented in derogatory terms such as purists and holier than thou. In fact, Ricky Gervais even went so far as to refer to vegans as mad, savage extremists. Now, how can this possibly be anything akin to good publicity for veganism? Number four, where moral concern for non-human animals is addressed, we have a hierarchy with companion animals at the top and farmed animals at the bottom. Ricky Gervais tells us that he doesn't want to eat a pet or a little friend, that he doesn't eat red meat because he tries to rule out any cruelty. But these categories are entirely arbitrary, and other animals continue to be harmed for palate pleasure, fashion, entertainment, and the public becomes confused about what we owe to non-human animals. Number five, animals are discussed in terms of treatment rather than use. When vegans pointed out to Ricky Gervais that the Yulin dog massacre was no different from what we do to the mass slaughter of cows, he reiterated the fact that it was the live skinning of the dogs that was the problem, rather than the actual killing. Number six, those who speak to animal issues without being vegan will tend to focus on the things to which most people are already opposed. Bullfighting, foie gras, hunting, and so on. There's really no message to transmit there. If people are mostly already opposed to them, they're not doing any good. It further allows non-vegans to compartmentalise their use of animals. 7, celebrities who talk about animal issues are often unreliable and inconsistent. Ricky Gervais, for instance, condemned Rebecca Francis for killing a giraffe because she said she was going to use the giraffe's body to feed people, and yet he condemned Walter Palmer because Cecil wasn't killed for food. So there's complete inconsistency. And 8, those who continue to exploit animals in some ways while speaking out for them in others are often lauded by the large animal organisations as heroes or exemplars. And this sends out the message that one doesn't need to be vegan in order to be an effective voice for animals. This is the exact opposite of the message that we need to convey. Ricky Gervais said, if you don't have empathy for animals, you don't have empathy. But this empathy must be extended to all animals in all situations of use, and not just the ones who pull on the heartstrings or in whose exploitation we don't already participate.
In short, there's no substantive evidence to suggest that when celebrities adopt some sort of position on veganism or animal rights, that brings any meaningful contribution towards bringing others to veganism or a position on animal rights. Indeed, the mention of veganism on the social media pages of these celebrities usually results in a maelstrom of derision and hostility from both the celebrities and their followers. Even if the awareness of a few people is allegedly raised, this is nullified many times over by the negativity often expressed by celebrities and their followers. Their misrepresentation of veganism and animal rights can only serve to make the task of vegan education even more difficult than it already is, as vegans have to struggle to dispel the false impressions left by these people. The insistence that every little helps is clearly mistaken and in fact does exactly the opposite. If enough people was given a box of fireworks, no doubt one or two of them would eventually discover rocket science. But this is hardly an effective way of creating the next generation of rocket scientists. By the same token, only unequivocal vegan education will create a vegan world and achieve justice for our non-human friends. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Excellent. Now we're going to have Dubrusa giving her viewpoint. Thank you. You have your 6 minutes.
Hello. So for me, veganism is not a goal, it's more like a tool that I'm using as an activist. And my goal is actually to make people stop eating meat and stop eating all the other animal products. And I feel that part of this discussion is too English language based. I don't know if many of you are aware of the fact that most of the world does not actually speak English as their first language. And for all of us, the word vegan is a borrowed word. So I think outside of the English-speaking environment, we are not that focused on the word itself, because we have no reason for this to happen. We concentrate on actually explaining to people all the good reasons to stop using animal products. So because of this, part of this discussion for me is actually quite weird, I would say. And I became an activist because I wanted the society to listen to the message of empathy towards animals. And because of this, my organization mostly does investigations. With investigations, we were able to get to the biggest media outlets in the country. And I think that was really effective. But celebrities are also a shortcut to the media. When they talk, people listen. And I am animal rights activist because I want people to listen to the message of empathy towards animals. I think the discussion, like when we try to make this discussion only about celebrities, it becomes really shallow. What we should think about is who are the influencers in the society, who are the major stakeholders, who are the role models. It's not just Beyonce or some movie or some film stars or some music stars. Influencers are also writers, poets, politicians, and many other important people. We should work on getting them on board because this is how the society will be changed as a whole. As activists, we are on the fringes of the society. We are, by definition, extremists. And extremists are not being discussed by the major media because this is how the society works. And celebrities, on the other hand, are a mainstream, also by definition. So in a way, the fact that they are willing to discuss animal issues legitimizes the whole concept in such a way that media are somehow allowed to talk about this as a mainstream concept, not as this fringe or extreme concept anymore. And another important thing with how we react towards celebrities becoming vegan, even if we are not happy with what they actually do, even if we are not happy with their type of veganism or something like this, if we are aware of the fact that whatever they do is being observed and is being analyzed by the media, by people, by social media, we also have to be aware that if we attack them publicly, we send a strong message that any person that tries but fails in their way to become like fully vegan will be severely and viciously attacked by the vegans. And that's a very bad message, and this is something we should really, really avoid. I also think that, and I hope, that if we are effective as activists, more and more people will become vegan, and celebrities are among them. And they will talk about this, because this is what celebrities do. They talk about their life, they talk about their private life, they talk about their choices, they talk about food they eat, their workout routines, and things like that. And this is where we have a choice. We don't have a choice on if they become vegan. We don't have a choice on what form their veganism has, but we have a choice on how we react to this. And we can either react by attacking them and calling them names because they are not as vegan as we want them to be, or we can engage in a dialogue with them and maybe teach them what full empathy towards animals should look like. And because of this, I would rather have a dialogue, and I would rather have as many vegan celebrities or meat-reducing celebrities, vegetarian celebrities as possible, because I understand that we live in a carnist society that mostly eat. Most of the people at the moment eat animal products, and they eat them a lot. So I want as many important people in the society on board. I want the issue be discussed by media as much as possible. We want the most important people in the society discuss. I want the animal issue to be treated as issue that's really, really important, that's vital, that's not only lifestyle but also political and social. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. And within time as well. Kate, I'd love to hand it over to you now.
Nothing can be more improper than ease and laxity in expression when the seriousness of the subject expresses solicitude, are the words of Samuel Johnson. I can't think of a subject more deserving of solicitude and expressed with such ease and laxity as animal exploitation. We have Beyoncé with her flirtation with a plant-based diet, which she makes all about herself. We must love ourselves, as she ostentatiously parades about in dead animals, calling it a spiritual cleanse. And Ricky Gervais with his single-issue campaigns and his concern for some animals while he actively participates in the exploitation of other animals. His millions of fans outraged at Cecil fawn over him because they want to justify their own animal exploitation. To give the right message to one person is a good thing. To give the wrong message to one person, aside from millions, can be nothing but damaging. What we are doing when we are supporting anyone or anything less than veganism, it doesn't matter whether we're talking about Beyoncé or Gervais or our friends and family, we are entrenching the odious concept that we have in society today that animal exploitation is normal and acceptable, and it's this concept that we need to turn around. As Gary Francione has said, there is one way to stop animal exploitation, and there is one way to help the animals. We need to shift the paradigm away from animals that are here as commodities for us to use, to animals as members of the moral community, as non-human persons. And this is never going to happen while we have animals on our backs, around our necks, on our feet, or on our plates. It's never going to happen without a strong movement of ethical veganism. And whether the animals' lives are depicted as happy or not, and I say that with sarcasm, they end up amid the noise and squalor of the same hideous slaughterhouse. And even if they were killed instantly and without pain, it would still be wrong. A child of 5 and my mentally disadvantaged aunt can understand this. If a small child is hitting his baby sister, we don't encourage, support, and reward less hitting. We need to be absolutely clear that no hitting is acceptable. We have Meatless Mondays, and you don't have to be vegan to love vegan things campaigns, and veganish vegans, chegans, vegetarians, flexitarians, reducitarians. We have Paul McCartney, who's been sitting comfortably in the mythical and damaging vegetarian gateway to veganism for the last 40 years, where he continues to exploit animals. He also benefits on a corporate level from Linda McCartney Vegetarian Foods. And he's held up as some sort of ambassador to animal rights. And although Morrissey has gone vegan, which is wonderful, it's taken him 35 years to get through the mythical gateway. And he brings with it a negative message about veganism, saying veganism is difficult and expensive. The only thing that's difficult about veganism is we live in a society that insists on normalizing animal exploitation. And the only thing that's expensive is if we insist, as does Morrissey, on buying Stella McCartney shoes made in Italy. Veganism is depicted as difficult by superheroines who can say it's not for everyone. I profoundly disagree. Veganism is for every one of us. It's our birthright. We were all vegan at conception. We would all thrive in a vegan society, and I would like to think every one of us in such a society would be outraged at the current state of this society. Animal exploitation destroys our health. It destroys the environment for all beings, but most importantly, it's a blight on our spirit and our soul. As Francione says, veganism is not an option in a world of ethics, it's a moral imperative, in which case we cannot justify eating, using, or wearing animals. And until we are vegan, we are actively participating in institutionalized or otherwise animal exploitation. Take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. What we are doing, whether we like to admit it or not, when we are supporting anyone, whether it's Beyonce or Gervais or the Pope or our father or our brother, who is not vegan, we are taking the side of the oppressor and the tormentor. Recently, a politician has said, talking about the livestock industry, I live in the real world, I'm not there to overturn that. If we were talking about humans, this would be considered shocking. But we're only talking about the millions of non-human persons that are slaughtered every year.
1 minute, Kate.
The billions, rather. Well, I live in the real world too, and I am there to overturn that. If every one of us who is vegan can persuade one other person every year, and they the same, to go vegan, we very quickly get our vegan United Kingdom and our vegan world. We were all born into this species of society. We reject animal exploitation by being vegan. Veganism is our future. Let's harness this future and bring it back to the present.
Absolutely outstanding. I feel that we hung on the words of everybody here. There's going to be time for questions. And I'd like to just make a few observations before we think about the questions that we're going to put to our panel. This is your opportunity to speak to these guys. Now, no matter what you think, every day these guys get up and step up for veganism and animals, whether it's the course that you would take or it's not. These guys are doing it. That deserves respect. I picked up a few points. Whatever these celebrities doing is being observed all the time. That's a responsibility. Don't know if I would like that at all, really. It's a borrowed word, veganism. Are we all going towards the same goal, even though it's a borrowed word? We invented the word. I'm very proud of that. Celebrities are people too. They've got feelings, you know, that we all make mistakes. I know I made some slip-ups when I first went vegan. Leather shoes, are we all right if someone wears leather shoes and says they're vegan? You know, are we going to point it out to them? There's lots of things. There's lots of things to discover and to talk about. And I'd also like to say, I feel it's all about education. I love to think that maybe what I do can educate the media about veganism, especially with my BFF Tim. Educating the media about veganism, and educating the celebrities about veganism. And you know what? I'd love to educate the celebrities about veganism. So if anyone knows any celebrities, tell me. I'd love to educate them, put them on the right track. Okay, guys, this is our space. This is your chance. Right, fairly and nicely. We've got hands up. Have you got good voices? Do you need a microphone? Stand up. He doesn't need a microphone. He's got a louder voice than me. Really loud and clear, respectfully. Cool.
I have a really simple question for everyone. Thank you, by the way, for your ideas. I'm more on spectrum that everyone is on. So my really simple question for everyone on the panel is, when you went vegan, if you were born into a vegan family or if you chose to make that decision yourself, did you just go overnight from consuming meat products to vegan, or was it a gradual process? And if it was a gradual process, don't you think that everyone deserves that chance to make that journey, and perhaps that's the same journey that these celebrities make?
Excellent. Round of applause. It's a journey. Do the celebrities, do they deserve that chance? So let's go to you guys first, the Grumpies. What do you think, the celebrities? It's a journey being vegan.
I'm going to let Francis answer this, but just to answer your initial question, I went vegan overnight.
I flirted with vegetarianism in my youth, but when I went vegan overnight as well. This is not a question of respecting anybody's journeys. This is not a question of telling celebrities they're doing it wrong or attacking anybody. This question is whether celebrities talking about animal rights is good or bad for animal rights and veganism. And I think that the celebrities aren't doing that. So how long they take to be vegan is... It's not a matter for us to say. All we can do when we advocate is say, tell people that they have a duty to align their beliefs about animals with their behaviour. But the question is, and I bring it back to this, is whether this is a good thing or a bad thing for the movement, for celebrities to be discussing these issues. And certainly if they're not vegan, then I don't think they're contributing usefully to the debate about veganism, except to teach us how we might advocate better. And certainly if they're speaking to animal issues and they're not speaking from a rights perspective, we can't say that they're adding anything of value to the discussion on animal rights either.
Thank you. I'd like to hand it over to the fours, please, as well. Ooh, feedback.
I didn't go vegan overnight. Even Gary Francione didn't go vegan overnight, even though he says so. But what's more important is that the stats show that 90% of the people don't go vegan overnight. So I think we should allow people, like you said, to have their own journey. And what's more, I think it's so strange that even the people who didn't go vegan overnight, they want the other people to go vegan overnight, supposedly because today it's so much easier than it used to be when we did it, So it doesn't make much sense, I think. And also keep in mind, please, that your own consumption is not everything. I think it's very arrogant of us to judge somebody like Paul McCartney for not being vegan, for God's sake. He's out there reaching millions of people, and we're going to judge them because he's not vegan like we are. So it seems to me like a vegan cannot do anything wrong, a non-vegan cannot do anything right. That's the way it feels to me that we judge these people. It's absolutely ridiculous in my view. Vegetarians take away 90% of the suffering. So please don't say that vegetarians don't do anything. People like Paul McCartney just confuse the movement, that they just have no impact. They have a lot of impact. And the fact that they're not vegan, that's actually small stuff compared to the really enormous impact that we have. And I think it's very arrogant of us to sit here and say, like, I'm vegan, so I can judge you because you're not.
I invite you to speak next, please.
I also feel, when I hear that we are not happy that celebrities are discussing veganism or animal issues, I think we are forgetting where we are. We are in a society that doesn't care about farmed animals almost at all. And at this moment, any person that actually starts the discussion is a good news.
If we support anything less than veganism, then we're going to get less than veganism. If we're completely clear that veganism is the moral baseline, it's the very least we can do in a world of ethics, then perhaps that message could get across a little bit more clearly, and perhaps we'd have a more speedier movement towards veganism. If we were talking about a human rights issue, if we were talking about rape or child molestation, we would never encourage journeys or baby steps. We would be absolutely clear that this is unacceptable and it needs to stop. I wish that I had been given a much clearer message when I went vegetarian at the age of 14 about the imperativeness of veganism. And I think if that message was made clear to everyone else, then people might receive that message with clarity.
Okay, if you just compare it to civil rights, that every single civil rights movement that we've ever made has been incremental steps. Every single
Well, I mean, that was 30 years ago. And I mean, there is no need for anyone in this room, or actually anyone in this country, to not just go vegan tomorrow. There's no reason. You know, we've got all the food that we need, and what's the reason to not? Other than speciesism.
Guys, just got to say, when we ask a question, we just wait for the microphone so that it's picked up by the live streaming, because we're aware that those listening live streaming possibly missed those two questions. Next question. One more question. Lady in the front there. Just wait a second while the microphone's coming. Here he comes.
Nearly here.
Thanks.
Thank you. I hope I haven't forgotten what I was going to say, but going back to the lady next to the gentleman on my left. You're saying, sorry, I couldn't remember her name. You're saying that people generally don't care about animals. I think that people are unaware of the plight of animals. I was unaware for 30 years. I was a vegetarian. I have been a vegan now for 15 years. And I was unaware. I believed I was doing right. The other thing I have to go on is to say that we don't have time. Although all the time that people are taking these baby steps, that people are saying, well, I'm doing my best, we don't have time. Those animals are still being slaughtered, are suffering. So it's all very well for various people to say.
Could we have a question, please?
Oh, well, I was just responding to the words that were being said up on stage. I apologise for the question. Can I not do that?
Oh, if you could
Thank
just
you.
ask a question.
Well,
There was no question. Right, beg your pardon.
Thank you.
Okay, one more question. Little boy. Little fella, here go. Wait for the microphone, please.
Round of applause. It's very brave to speak up. Do you want to stand up and tell us your name? Come on, do it. You can do it. Brave. Yeah. I mean, you want him to do it. Look, round of applause. Yeah.
Like, people ask me what's the difference between vegetarianism and veganism, and I say, well, the difference is that, like...
Come on, you can do it. Come on, come on.
I say it's because vegetarians only eat meat, and No, I don't. I mean, sorry. Not leather. So yeah, vegetarians don't eat meat, and that's the only thing they don't eat. Now, I was like that, and I thought I was doing good, and then my mum went vegan, so I decided to go vegan just after her. And yeah, there's a lot that's left out. Like, I didn't know about honey. I thought I was been vegan. So,
How old are you, darling?
11.
The compassion in children is mind-blowing. They don't need a debate. They know the truth. They know the answers. What's your name?
Derry.
Derry. When did you go vegan, Derry?
2 years ago, or 2 or 3.
On your feet, guys. To step up and stand up and give that, absolutely fantastic. Derry, is there anything you want to add quickly? Because we're time out now. You're a star, thank you. I wish a lot of people and a lot of kids will follow your example. I think in a few years, maybe next year, you'll be up here with us. Well done. Quick wrap up, guys, and then we've got another debate, and we've got Pig Floyd as well, which is super cool. We're going to have a really quick whiz around the table and a wrap up. We're going to start with you. Put you on the spot. I like to do that.
Yeah, I just agree with the baby step approach. With the step approach, somebody said, like, we don't have time for steps. We don't have time for baby steps. I would say we don't have time for anything that's not the most effective as possible.
Grumpies?
1 minute, sum up.
Okay.
Or less.
Well, when we're talking about veganism, we're talking about the fact that you do not use animals at all. It's got nothing to do with vegetarianism or reducitarianism or flexitarianism or any other ism that you may want to mention. It's got everything to do with veganism. Okay? There are enough non-vegans advocating non-veganism in this world. We need to make it absolutely clear to the public what veganism is and what we think they ought to do about it. Now, if people want to actually take some time, have a journey over their over arriving at veganism, that's fine, but we should never give them permission for that journey. We should say, take your time, do what you want, but we should make it absolutely clear that the end goal is veganism, and this is what veganism means. These celebrities, yes, when they talk, people do listen, but they're talking the wrong talk.
Before I joined animal rights movement, I was involved mostly in feminist movement. I was a feminist before I became a vegan and before I became an activist. And for me, it's a strange concept to have a movement that tries to have this message. Like, feminists don't tell you to go feminist overnight now, because this is what will bring justice to women. People who want a sustainable environment wouldn't just tell you, hey, go become an ecologist overnight, because they will tell you all the different ways on how to get to these goals. And for me, this training in other social movements that I had, I believe it gave me a bit different approach, and I think we should definitely learn from other social movements, and probably if we did that, we wouldn't have such discussion today.
Thank you.
Ricky Gervais and Beyonce are celebrities who have their say. Beyonce's diet of 22 days of plant-based food, just a passing phase. And Ricky Gervais, for all his campaigns, just loves to harm those whom he loves, so he claims. Fish, sheep, hens and cows and those with a snout. How is it now, Ricky? These simply don't count. Look, friends, it's as simple can be. If we care, we don't eat them for breakfast or tea. Being vegan is easy, not some sort of dream, and we know that to harm them is evil and mean. So let's support justice with one voice, yes, let's. No messy campaigning, no trite baby steps. And Ricky Gervais and Beyonce just need to be quiet and keep out of the way until they are vegan forever and a day. And thank you, Tim Barford. And thank you, Tim Barford, that I had my say.
Oh. Outstanding.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm absolutely made up to hear such eloquent and persuasive and intelligent debate. The debate will continue. It's going to continue on Facebook. You're welcome to have your say. There's also a poll on the VegFest Express site, so you can also have your say in the poll. So this will go on for another 24 hours or so for the poll. So personally found this incredibly interesting. Tobias, DeBrusha have really made some really strong cases and spoken for a lot of people here. I feel that the Grumpies and Kate have just really spoken for the animals. And I think it's a fascinating debate and one that will continue. So I'd like to say a personal thanks very much to all our people who've taken part here. And I'll just hand back to Karen now to wrap up.
I thought it was absolutely outstanding. You think you sort of know the right answer, and I've spent this whole weekend learning so much and hearing some incredible, outstanding speakers. I don't know, we're all on this, it is a journey, you're right, it is a journey. I wish for many people it would start at such a young age when they know the answer, there's no debate. I find it fascinating. I do feel that it is about education. As I said, educating the media is vital because they can spread our message, and it's educating the celebrities. We can't stop the celebrities being vegan. I want everybody to be vegan. I want a vegan planet. There's no two ways about it. But it's all about education. And hey, how better than to come to the Veg Fest and see the abundance of veganism? I mean, hey, do we need to exploit animals? Look around at the Veg Fest. Thank you for playing so nicely. And thank you to these gorgeous, wonderful people that just step up on a daily basis and they add their voice for the voiceless, for the animals that can't speak. And I'm really moved to be here, and it's a pleasure. I hope I've served you well. Stay here for the next debate, because if you lose your seat, you ain't getting your seat. It's been heaving all weekend. Thank you. And I just want to give, can you guys, round of applause for you guys, because you've been outstanding. Thank you for your respect. You know what? I'm from Essex, I'm going to do this. I want to take a picture from this. Awesome. Thank you so much again. Huge love for Tim Barford. Without Tim Barford, there would be no Veg Fest.
Well done, Karen. Brilliant. Well done. Thanks very much. There's going to be a short interval of 5 minutes whilst we change over the speakers. At 4 o'clock, there's going to be an appearance from our novelty act, Pig Freud, who is the Thinking Pig's pig. And then at 4:15, the big debate will continue with the debate about single issue campaigns. So 4 o'clock, Pig Freud, 4:15, the debate continues. Thanks very much.
I don't need to say anything now.
What we need to do is get the stage set up.